The gift for Croatia, of course, is now a clash on Friday against Brazil, according to the bookies. No surprise here. Brazil are 5-1 on to advance. Just want $5 just to win the one. How do you stop Brazil, Nathan?
That is a great question. I think that is a great question. I think for Croatia, I believe they are very good at sort of moving the ball, trying to get ways to control the game. People like Modric getting on the ball is fantastic. But if Brazil manage to put them on the back foot, then I think they'll struggle. But I think Brazil, for as good as they are, they're not perfect. Maybe at times you could maybe get them to overcommit, perhaps, and then maybe you could isolate some of the differentials in terms of the Brazilians at the back. You know, Thiago Silva's a great player, but he's 38 years old, you know, something like that. He's even older than me, and I'm retired already. Obviously, I'm comparing myself to Thiago Silva. But anyway, moving on. I think for Brazil, they aren't perfect. And you saw in the group stages that they did, you saw in the group stages that they weren't perfect overall. They could make changes and things didn't necessarily go the way that they wanted. They can score goals, but there's no guarantee that they will score goals. And I think for Croatia, they have to make sure that they're solid, make sure that they're tight defensive structures in play. And they might forego a bit of possession, but they can still kind of control certain elements of the game without necessarily being on the ball. And then the longer you can frustrate Brazil, the more jeopardy exists, because you know that one goal may be all that you need from that match in itself. I think you look at the way, say, Cameroon beat Brazil, and obviously there were changes within that, but it was what I don't think Cameroon necessarily deserved to win the game per se, but it still came away with 3 points from that match. And I think if you look at Croatia, they're a team who've made it to the final, a team who believe that they can be going further along. And as the manager said, people seem to continually underestimate them, even though they seem to be going further and further in these tournaments. So I think for that, it's just about staying solid, not offering too much to Brazil and becoming open, because if you do become open, they will tear you apart. Yes, that Brazil probably have the better players overall, but the fact is it's still 11 versus 11. And in Croatia, they have the experience to be able to step forward and offer a game plan of just soaking up a bit of pressure, but then making sure that when the moments are there to attack, they attack in a structured way and don't leave themselves open as they go forward.
I'm concerned about Croatia's fitness. And it's not only today's game against Japan and the fact that you went into extra time and the stress levels of this particular game. I'm going back to the game against Belgium. That was a stressful match as well. And had it not been for a Lukaku sort of shocker, they probably wouldn't even be in the competition. Regardless, my point is, stressful match, emotional match against Belgium. Stressful match, emotional match against Japan. And now, you go and play against Brazil 3 days from now, and guess what? Brazil just had a training session.
Right.
And they rested most of the starters in the last game of the group stage. So you're talking about, in terms of just fitness and fitness alone, a much, much fresher team in Brazil than what you have in Croatia. We also saw from Croatia today that when Modric got tired, then Kovacic got tired, Brozovic, now you're taking players off the field, and Peric is off the field, and so is Kovacic, and so is Modric, and you're thinking, the reason you take those guys off the field, while it is a brave decision, is because they're having difficulties moving around. And they're having difficulties chasing around. Guess what they're going to have to do against Brazil? Move around and chase around. The fitness for Croatia will be a major, major part of this game. And chasing Brazil is not easy to do in the best of circumstances, and these are not the best of circumstances for Croatia.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.